it's not even closely cropped,
5
Nathan.
minutes after 7.
It's starting to get
96.5 KECO in Oak City, Oklahoma. What's going on? Is this our podcast, or are we doing radio now? Are we on TV?
Did we ever figure out? I understand cast. You broadcast, you simulcast, sportscast, weathercast, but why is it a podcast? Remind me.
We've talked about this.
I know, and I can't remember, so remind me.
It has to do with the iPod.
Oh.
That these things were originally done so people could hear them on their iPod.
Okay.
So it was a podcast.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah. And so now everything that we record and put on the internet is a podcast.
I guess. Well, if it's I guess. I don't know.
Podcast form.
Can anybody explain to me why Joe Rogan is a big deal? I still cannot figure it out, but he is the leading podcaster. He's got this Joe Rogan podcast. I don't know what it's called, but it's such a big deal. And it'll go for 2 or 3 hours at a pop. Does he do it once a week?
He interviews lots of people.
I know.
Big time
and
people.
I don't know why. Why is he a big deal?
He's a big deal because he's popular, and he's popular because he's a big deal.
Is it because he works out and will say anything? I don't know what the deal is.
Is he the Howard Stern
of
our generation?
I guess. Maybe I need to quit trying to figure people out. Maybe I need to stop trying to understand. Here's what I know. It's 55 degrees. Here's what I know. We got some fog around. You better be careful. You better watch out, look out, get familiar, and be careful. So we got some fog out there. Humidity 96%, winds calm. You don't see that often, do you? 55 degrees on our way to whatever. And by whatever, I mean 65. On our way to 65. Do you know how to build wealth? I do, slowly and consistently and with discipline. That's how. It's no real secret. It's pretty well known. Are you willing to do it is the question. And are you willing to get some help by people who are really good at it, know what they're doing, and they do it differently than most? Would you like that? Would you like help? Or are you such a genius you can do it on your own? Huh? Brian and Briley Bacca, Advanced Financial Strategies in Clinton, block and a half south of Homeland. Are you ready to begin? RetireWithBacca.com.
Nathan, Friday night, you and I and some other adult people were sitting around talking about life, and we were reflecting, and we were asking the questions other people are afraid to ask.
That's right.
And we were talking about a recent and apparently continuing phenomenon by the young people primarily.
I heard its day has passed.
Social media, it has, and yet it's still lingering.
Mm.
It's seen its better day, but it's lingering, and that moved our mother to ask the question of her own grandchildren.
Yeah,
that so many people are afraid to ask, and I just wanted to share it right now.
Okay,
to see if we can make that happen.
Actually, no. Why do you say 6'7"? You know.
Why do you say 6'7"?
Actually, no. Why do you say 6'7"? You know. But why did actually no? Why do you say 6'7"?
Why do you say 6'7"? I had never heard of that before Friday night. I had no clue what anybody was talking about. I was blissfully ignorant of this phenomenon.
I'm guessing this showed up on a TikTok video. This has been around a while, at least since the end of school last year, maybe, in the spring semester.
Wow.
6'7", 6'7". There's apparently a video somewhere on social media of some youngish person making this arm gesture with hands. 6'7", 6'7", and for some reason, everybody under the age of 17 was doing it. 18 has been doing it ever since, and I've heard of and seen some stories on social media and real media where teachers are now they're having to rebuke their students and make them stop saying it because young kids, just all day, every day, anytime you hear 6'7", 6 or 7 or 6'7", it's 6'7", 6'7", 6'7". And so we were talking about it last Friday night, and Nathan had never even heard it.
No.
And so we had to tell him what it was.
No clue.
And of course, our mother turned to grandchildren and said, "Why do you say 6'7"?"
Why does anybody say it? Well, because they think it's funny to repeat what somebody on a TikTok video said?
Yes. That's why.
Have teenagers always been prone to just repeat things?
I think so. I think there's a human need to belong
Mm-hmm.
to the group. We all want to be
You're right.
in on whatever.
Oh, I agree with that later. I agree with what you just said.
I want to be part of the group. And what these social media phenomenons, is that a word?
Phenomena.
What these social media phenomena do is they let all of us be part of the group.
Yeah.
To be in on what's cool, what's trending, what's hip, to be part of that.
Now, the problem is when we're talking about teenagers, I'm telling you, the prefrontal cortex not fully developed yet. And so what they think is hilarious or interesting. I mean, two guys rubbing sticks together. Oh, look at that. Oh, 6'7".
Squirrel in the park. Now, in 10 years, they'll probably look back.
I hope they look back and think, man, what were we doing?
With a certain level of regret.
Yeah, I hope so. Good morning, you two hosiers. I think he meant hosers. Or not. I don't know. Joe Rogan became popular because they heard he was listening to the early morning show. That's on the text line, 225-9697. So if anybody out there is familiar with this alleged 6'7" phenomenon online, on social media, what in the world is it? What's going on? Do your kids say it? If so, why? What does it mean? What does it mean? Have teachers dealt with this? Teachers, are you listening? Have you dealt with this in class? If so, text us 225-9697.
There was a guy on social media, I think just yesterday, on Facebook. He asked everybody, what's the Packers score? Apparently, at the time, the Packers score was 6-7. And he said, I'm just trying to get somebody to say 6-7.
Uh-huh. Boy, this is from the text line. Boy, your mother just asked questions. Ha ha.
Yes.
Oh, she will. She'll do it, too. Where do you think we learned it? We learned to ask questions and say, what's the deal? That's my favorite question now. What's the deal with, and then just fill in the blank. Like Atwood's, what's the deal with these milk house heaters? Usually $19.99, right now $16.99. They're 120-volt milk house heater, usually $19.99, right now $16.99 at Atwood's. Oh, how many people? Andrew, do you suppose anybody in our listening area has already fired up their heater?
Oh, I'm guessing. I would not be at all surprised.
It's 55 degrees with 100% fog. Going to get up to 65. How would you like to be Brian Kelly, Landry?
I would love it. 54. I've got 54 million reasons that LSU could fire me.
Saturday morning, I was listening to our sister, 98.1 The Sports Animal. I guess it was a OU pregame show of theirs. I had to get out with a child of mine, and I got out and went to a store. And this has got to be 10 o'clock, 9:45, 10, somewhere in there. We'll say 9:45 or 10 o'clock. And so we're out driving. And I'm driving to the store, and I'm listening to the Sports Animal, 98.1. And it was Jim Traber, Al Eschbach, Barry Trammell. And they were just talking about college football. And it was such a pleasant experience listening to those three talk, and particularly Barry Trammell. He's very good at just giving you information. And he was saying things like, I guess Shane Beamer, the coach at South Carolina, Shane Beamer, who had been at OU as an assistant, whose father is Frank Beamer. Now, Frank Beamer in the state of Virginia is a legend because he built a program at Virginia Tech. Frank Beamer built the program at Virginia Tech. I mean, took him from nothing to being a respectable program, and he's still revered there. Well, his son, Shane Beamer, college football coach, came to OU as an assistant, left to become South Carolina's head coach. Season not going great. They should have beaten Alabama 9 days ago and gave that game away. And that took them to 3-4. And then this past Saturday, I don't know what happened to him yesterday. Couldn't tell you.
Saturday?
Saturday. I don't know what happened, but
Wasn't the Alabama game 2 days ago? Wasn't that Saturday? Yeah, the South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyway,
I was watching the end of that
Trammell
game.
was talking like Beamer's on his way out. Like Shane Beamer's going to leave. And they were talking about how of all the programs and the situations in the country where the son could come back and do well, that they think Shane Beamer should go to Virginia Tech and go pick up where his dad left off. But Trammell went further, and he talked about how when he was growing up on Saturday watching the Prudential scoreboard for college football, he said they never referred to him as Virginia Tech. It was VPI. Virginia Polytechnic Institute. And he and Traber said, yeah, I remember that. VPI, blah, blah, VPI. They're talking about that. Anyway, it was so pleasant listening to Trammell talk about all this. Now, he also said, and here's why I brought it up. He said in this conversation Saturday morning, Trammell said, I think Brian Kelly, if they lose against Texas A&M, he might lose his job. And so that's all I thought about all weekend. And then this morning, I was looking for it yesterday and couldn't find it. And then this morning, I pull up USA Today. Brian Kelly, LSU coach, gone.
First of all, South Carolina probably should have beaten Alabama.
Yes.
I was watching the end of that game when the South Carolina had the ball. It's 2 minutes to go in the game. It's tied at 22. Lenora Sellers, the South Carolina quarterback, he's running the ball. As he's going down, an Alabama player does something that separates great teams from non-great teams. He made a play.
Gets
He
the ball.
stripped the ball. It came loose, and an Alabama lineman just fell on it. He didn't even know he was on top of it until one of his the teammate, maybe the teammate who stripped it, was sort of pushing him, probably said, "Hey, you got the ball. You got the ball. Get the ball. Get the ball." So then Alabama takes over on the South Carolina, 45-yard line. They go down and wind up scoring a touchdown that South Carolina, after 2 or 3 plays, lets the guy go into the end zone, thinking we don't have enough time to try to stop them, and if they score here and run off the clock, we're done. So a defender lets an Alabama player go into the end zone, and then Alabama winds up winning the game. And Shane Beamer, I think they've got a losing record at South Carolina, and South Carolina is just a tough program.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, they're in the same state as Clemson, so Clemson gets the glory. Even the old ball coach, Steve Spurrier, he had trouble winning at South Carolina. He never won the big games there. After having so much success at Florida, he was not. He went to the NFL and then went to South Carolina. That's just a tough place to win. And maybe Shane Beamer just needs a reset. Maybe he just needs a fresh start someplace else. And maybe VPI, maybe the Virginia Polytechnic Institute, maybe that's the place to do it. Boy, Texas A&M, they just took it to LSU.
Are they that good?
That A&M, I didn't watch much of that game, but my goodness, they looked good in what I watched.
Does OU have to play Texas A&M?
No.
Good.
Number 3 in the country. Well, they were number 3. They may have moved up to number 2. I don't know. The new polls are out. That Texas A&M bunch, they're still undefeated, and they are very good.
I guess Mike Elko knows what he's doing. I never heard of him before he got hired there.
I'm worried he needs to lose a little weight. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm concerned about his health.
You're trying to help him?
Bill Beatenbow, the OU offensive line coach.
Uh-huh.
He's lost weight, and he's healthier and feels better as a result, and I'm less worried about him. Back in the old days, we were worried about Ruffin McNeil.
Yeah, and before that, Mark Mangino.
Oh. I'm worried about Mike Elko, the Texas A&M head football coach.
Before you put the tractor up for the winter, do all the maintenance, okay? Before you put the tractor up for the winter, do all the maintenance so it'll be ready to rock and roll come spring. And you do that with the help of Camrock. They've got everything you need for tractor maintenance. Camrock Supply, next to Fred's Steakhouse in Elk City, online, camrocksupply.com.
You may not realize it, but you're listening to the only thing on KECO right now. Nathan and Landry Brewer on the Early Morning Show.
Brian Bacca is an investment advisor representative of and advisory services offered through Royal Fund Management, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
And I do a lot of financial education. There's a lot of people come and sit down with me just to get information, and I want to try to help anybody that wants help. If they want to help themselves, then I'm here for them. But I've had people that are so far upside down in debt and really don't even have anything to do with financial planning. I talk to them about it and tell them these are the baby steps that we need to implement to try to help get you on the right track. But it's going to be a little painful, and it's going to take some discipline. It's going to take a while. And sometimes I never see those people again. So you don't tell them what they want to hear. They want you to wave a magic wand sometimes and fix their situation, but sometimes you can't help someone if they just don't want to be helped. Brian Bacca, name of my company is Advanced Financial Strategies. I have built this company from scratch. I didn't buy this company from somebody else. I started one client at a time.
Give us a call at 323-6800. Look at our website, retirewithbacca.com. Begin investing and stick with it. That's how most successful people did it. You can do it too.
In the land of Ford, October is really Trucktober, a time to challenge ourselves and help truck buyers. The stock is in, and our place is covered with over 100 pickup trucks. We even had to ship some over to Truck Island. They're all waiting for loving families to give them a good home. To meet the challenge of selling 100 trucks by the end of October, we're going to take big trades and make big deals. The Trucktober Challenge is on at Barbara Dyson Ford in Elk City, online at barbardysonford.net. Truck lovers, come and get them.
So if your farmer need a hose built, you can come in, we'll build it. Oilfield customer and need us to come out and see you, we'll come out and see you and take an order or pick up a hose, build it, bring it back to you. Solves that problem. I'm Brock Kalk, and my company is American Hose and Supply. We sell all types of industrial hose and fittings, oilfield or agriculture. You needed a hose like yesterday. We will stop what we're doing, and if we got to go to our Oklahoma City shop and get it, we'll do that. And I've done that for a lot of my customers. The business I've done with the oilfield, they got to see your face. Whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever the customer prefers, that's what we're going to do. We sell all types of industrial hose and fittings. In the oilfield, sometimes you get a call for a crazy, hey, can you get this? And you go find it for them. American Hose and Supply. Come by and see us at 2111 South Main, Elk City, Oklahoma, in Camrock Building next to Fred's.
Or call 303-1123.
Solves that problem.
We are restocked on our mixture, hard surface cleaners, linen sprays, VAT9, black pepper, salt and sage, cashmere, all those scents are the top scents for this line. You can just switch them out anytime you're ready for a new scent. We have all kinds of stationery stuff right now. We've got planners. We've also got a little pad that's for weekly meal planning. But a lot of people still love to use a traditional way of keeping their recipes, and so we've got books and recipe cards for those who still like to keep it traditional. You can keep it in one little area, and sometimes, you have things that you get from your grandma or your aunt or things, they're little recipe cards that they pass down to you. Well, this is perfect for that you can stick into these books as well. And we've also got these really cute little pens and dividers that mark your pages and stuff. Grandview Pharmacy and Gifts, 1220 West 3rd Street in Elk City, in between Subway and Sherwin-Williams.
Restaurants and feedlots, coffee shops and cafes, grocery stores and convenience stores. The Penny News is there, waiting for you to take it home.
96.5 KECO is the early morning show. How about all those pickup trucks at Barbara Dyson Ford? Do you like selection? Okay, you want a choice of colors and sizes and styles. Is that what you want? Do you want selection? Well, brother, you got it. When it comes to pick-em-up trucks, Trucktober is the time. BD Ford, the place in the northeast part of Elk City. 96.5 KECO is the early morning show. Latest Penny News is out. I'm looking at tractors on page one. Look at all those tractors. Big tractor auction, big farm equipment auction. Landry, OU played well at times Saturday morning when they lost to Mississippi, also known as Ole Miss. And I knew, having watched part of the Georgia game the previous week, Mississippi, I knew they were a good team. I knew they were a really good offense. Let me tell you something. I may have said this in the text group. We have a text group that we share information with during OU games. I would rather, after having watched that game and having watched some of the entire season play out, if I was an offensive coordinator or a head coach and I had my choice right now, you can either get Chambliss, Trinidad Chambliss from Mississippi, or John Mateer from OU. I'll take Chambliss. He's a better quarterback.
He was certainly a better quarterback Saturday.
I don't look, the number one reason why OU lost is Mississippi's a better team. Ole Miss is a better team than OU. They just are. They have better players. Okay? They have better players. And they played better Saturday. Now, OU had its chances. OU could have won that game. But OU did what OU has done the last 4 or 5 years. They shoot themselves in the foot with penalties. First of all, Michael Fasusi, number 56, the lineman, he was a 5-star recruit, and he's going to be a great player, I'm convinced. But he's playing very much like a freshman, and you can count on him for a couple of penalties a game. And although they did get hosed on that late hit on the quarterback, that was a terrible call. Terrible. But mostly it was OU making mistakes, including the big fumble by Isaiah Satania on the punt return in the fourth quarter, down by 5. Satania catches the ball on about the OU 30 or 35, makes a nice return. OU's going to have the ball at midfield in the fourth quarter, down by 5 points, with a chance to go score and go ahead. And he fumbles. You just can't do that. You cannot do that. In the fourth quarter, when you're down by 5, playing a very good team, you cannot do that. And OU did that. And so the offensive line, not very good. I don't understand Ben Arbuckle's play calling. Third quarter, Xavier Robinson comes out of nowhere and is running the ball for OU. So into the fourth quarter now, OU decides we're going to stop doing that, and we're going to go back to trying to pass with a quarterback who's probably hurt and can't hit people.
I don't think that Mateer is playing the same as he did before that thumb injury. I don't care what anybody says, including John Mateer. He claims it doesn't bother him. He looks like he's rusty. He looks like there's got to be something wrong with his throwing because some of his passes were just terrible. First of all, he was missing open receivers.
That 2-point conversion was awful.
He was not seeing open receivers, number one. And number two, he was sailing balls. Sometimes they were over the head of Giovanni Gibson, or they were on a 2-point conversion. He threw it in the grass.
Is he running slower than he did 2 months ago?
I think he is slower. And I don't know if it's the thumb.
Does he have a leg injury we don't know about?
I don't know if it's mental. I don't know what. But he is not the quarterback he was. Granted, I realize the teams they're playing are better.
Yes.
But he just doesn't look as good.
No.
He's not as crisp. He's not as sharp. His passes are not as good. And frankly, he looks like he's slower. I don't know if he's running more slowly or if the defenders are just getting a lot faster. And then you've got OU in the first half, they gained 16 rushing yards. I don't know what happened. They could not run the ball to save their lives in the first half. And then in the second half, third quarter, Xavier Robinson, I don't know where he's been all my life, but my goodness, he was OU's offense. Scored twice, 2 touchdowns, and Ben Arbuckle said, this is working so well
that in the fourth quarter,
we're going to do something else.
We're going to change and go back to this ineffective passing game.
And Mateer couldn't find open receivers. The offensive line was not doing a great job.
By the way, I
blocking.
heard our brethren on the Sports Animal this morning. This is something that hasn't really been discussed, but I think needs to be. OU's receivers just aren't that good. They're not getting open. Number one, they're not getting open.
Just Saturday, I said, are the receivers just not open at all? But Mateer was missing open receivers.
Well, he was,
too.
but also they have a tendency to not get open, it seems to me.
Of course, if the quarterback doesn't have a lot of time to throw and see receivers, there's a lot of blame to go around.
Because OU has better skill players this year, the quarterback is better. By the way, why is it on the one play that Mateer couldn't be on? Why is it that Hawkins isn't even getting the number 2 snaps now?
They don't want to burn a red shirt. You can only play 4 games, and beyond that, you lose eligibility. So I think they're probably trying to preserve a red shirt.
Why? He's not that good.
He's probably going to transfer next year.
They're trying to help him.
If Mateer comes back,
and
right now it's looking more and more like he will spend another year in college because I don't think he's ready for the NFL. But if Mateer comes back and this Bo Bentley kid arrives on campus from where, I can't remember, Texas, Hawkins is probably going to transfer anyway. So I'm not sure. Maybe for him, maybe they're thinking for his future, they don't want to burn a red shirt. So they brought in the third string. Why did they have to bring in somebody? Did Mateer's helmet?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but there's old Whit Neubauer.
The defense, OU's defense struggled, but it's hard to blame them a lot because Ole Miss's offense is really, really good.
Yeah.
And at times OU's own offense was not giving OU's defense much of a rest by going 3 and out, by its inability to move the ball. Very frustrating.
It's odd that, of course, it was rainy. And you would think it would affect both teams the same, but I swear Mississippi did not have the same problems with the field that the home team did.
And yet, OU was an 8-point loss.
They were in the game, yeah.
They were one score,
they
one
had their
touchdown
chances.
away.
They had their chances, and you just couldn't get it done.
A penalty here, a fumble there. Things could have gone very differently. They miss the tight end, the Ole Miss tight end, who does a little deke, a little fall to the ground and then get up.
Well, in fact, let me say this.
Which was probably designed.
Actually, after the game, on sober second thought, OU was actually lucky they didn't lose by more. Because Mississippi, for some dumb reason, Lane Kiffin wants to be too smart. And so he brings in this left-handed quarterback on the goal line, brings in the left-handed quarterback who has cold as ice, and draws up a really nifty play. There's a dude wide open, and the left-handed quarterback just overthrew him by 5 yards over his head. So they could have had that. And then later in the game, when the tight end for Mississippi, they're on like the 30, and it's going to be third and 1 or 2, and everybody assumes it's going to be a run up the middle, and they fake the run up the middle, and the tight end slips absolutely free, and Chambliss just overthrew him. There's 2 touchdowns they could have had. that probably should have made it a wider margin. So in that sense, OU was lucky to still be in the game. But since they were in the game, they had a chance to win and didn't do it.
Still trying to figure out what went wrong when OU's running back was tackled in his own end zone for safety.
That is the most embarrassing play
call
I have ever seen an offense run.
He was running laterally, and nobody blocked the actually would have been the right end. He comes in virtually unblocked. And Mookie Blaylock is running sideways in the end zone, slowly, and gets tackled for a safety. Was that ball game?
That was the longest developing play. That is where, when you're in your own end zone, you don't want plays to take a long time to develop.
That was the result of a penalty, by the way. They got backed up. They were on the 5-yard line. He got backed up to the 2.5.
And boy, a great play design, Ben. Thanks, brilliant genius Arbuckle, for calling that one. What in the world? Hey, I know. Man, we're on our own goal line. I tell you what. Let's hand the ball off to the running back and have him run sideways. 7:31. It is finally Monday, 96.5 KECO's The Early Morning Show. And I asked myself again, Nathan, why do you let yourself get sucked into rooting for a team when they're just going to break your heart? Rusty says, okay, Rusty Ricker, we were talking about Mike Elko, the coach at Texas A&M. He says Mike Elko was the defensive coordinator at Texas A&M before he went to Duke as the head coach. Mike Elko was the defensive coordinator at Texas A&M before he went to Duke as the head coach. And then, let's see, that was supposed to be their starting quarterback for the season, but he got hurt before the season started. Oh, at Ole Miss? Is that what you're saying, Chopper? That was supposed to be their starting quarterback for the season, but he got hurt before the season started. Well, this Chambliss is really good. I'd take him over Mateer right now. But I still don't understand why Lane Kiffin brings the guy in on the goal line. All right, Chambliss, you've done such a great job moving the ball down the field. We're going to put you on the bench now and let the backup take it into the end zone. Cold as ice. And he overthrew a wide open receiver in the end zone by like 5 yards. Wide open. Kiffin, you could see they showed a replay of his face, and he was spitting nails. He was so upset. We should have been mad at himself. Why do you bring in the kid? It didn't make any sense. 96.5 KECO's The Early Morning Show. But you know what? It's fun to talk about. That's my thing. It's fun to talk about, isn't it? And that's what you do in a talk show. 7:32, 55 degrees, foggy/cloudy skies. We're going to hit about 65. Feels great out there. This is a roll your window down on the way to work kind of a day, just like I did. And then avoid the roadkill because it is a little bit foggy out there. What if before you ever needed them, you said, you know what, I'm going to call old Brock and that bunch at American Hose and Supply inside the Camrock building. I'm going to call old Brock, and I'm going to have him bring me the hoses before the emergency hits. How about that? Wouldn't your life get easier? Man, it would. American Hose and Supply inside the Camrock building, hoses and fittings, 303-1123. 303-1123. See, I made you wait for it, and you didn't know what was going on. Penny News is out. Grab a copy. Talked about the tractors on page 1. Metal roofs. Upgrade to a metal roof. Upgrade to a metal roof. Oklahoma Metal Source. There. Jason Jones Plumbing. More metal. Metal Mart on page 2. Man, there was a massive estate sale this past weekend. S&S Estate Sales were the ones doing it. I went by that sucker 3 or 4 times because it wasn't far from where I live. Went by that dude several times. And I mean, Friday morning, I thought, is the fair in town? Did the State Fair of Oklahoma come to near my house? Because there was so much traffic. It was, to quote other people, crazy. Doubtless, it succeeded so wildly because, of course, S&S does a good job, but also because it was in the Penny News. Okay, it just works. I mean, if you're interested in making more money, I've noticed there's some business owners, some out there that do want to make more money. Others don't seem to care, but there's some business owners who want to make more money, and they seem to be in the Penny News, and that's pretty smart. Cars are here, Southwest Overhead Garage Door, tree trimmers, a lot of services, a lot of cattle products, a lot of cattle. In fact, did you go to the Black Hereford Ranch sale this past Saturday? That was in the Penny News. Kirk Feeds, High Pro Feeds, that's on page 11. Auctions are here. Jobs are here. People are hiring. Need a job? You like auctions? You like cattle? Penny News. It's free this week, running a special. It's the take one, get one free special with the Penny News.
Nathan and Landry will keep talking on the early morning show right after this.
So there's a company out there that has a certain color. All the farmers and stuff think their oil has to be used in those certain color of tractors. And it's just not true. So here at Camrock, we have the same specification oil as the other brand, where people think that they have to use that for a certain color on their tractors and stuff like that. But we have the same oil specifications as they do. Works just as well, does the same thing, lubes it just the same. Price comparison is, it's not even a comparison. We have a better price than anybody around on that type of oil. I use it at our place. My son uses it for our colored tractors that we have, and a lot of other farmers use it too. It's the same oil, specifications are the same. It's kind of a myth where they think that it's got to be that certain type of oil for that color of tractor.
Camrock is the name of the company. It's 2111 South Main, Elk City, south of Fred's Steakhouse.
We have a better price than anybody around on that type of oil.
I've had several clients when we're sitting in a closing room, we're signing the final pieces of paper, and we slide the keys across the desk and tell them, congratulations, you're a homeowner, and they're just elated. They're thrilled. They finally realize that their dream came true. They were actually able to own a home, and the children are in there with them. And they're like, I get to go get my new room. It's for the whole family to enjoy. They're very excited to own a home. I'm Joe Shepard, and I help make the difference at First National Bank and Trust of Elk City and Sayre.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
We do brakes, alignments, oil changes, filter services. If it's a fuel filter, air filter. We'll replace the front end parts on alignments, ball joints, tie rods. We don't do any engine work, but we do about everything else. Oil changes is something your car has to have done. There's many choices. We have a lot of repeats just because we take care of them. They come in, we get them out. They don't have to question, worry about if something was bad. Did you check it over? If they call and make an appointment, we get them in and out a little quicker. They can show up. If it happens to be the right spot, we can get them right in and out. If not, say it may be an hour or so, they'll leave it, come back, on their lunch break or whatever. We have a lot of those every day. L&R Tire, 1204 South Main, Elk City, Oklahoma, the home of Bridgestone Firestone tires. At L&R Tire, we'll take good care of your vehicle.
The number one biggest thing that I hear was somebody who has kind of a wreck in their mouth. Been waiting to get dental insurance, and I just haven't ever got dental insurance. You wait and wait and wait. You get dental insurance, but at that time, all of those problems that started out small have now become very large. You have the dental insurance, but yet it's going to cost you 10 times more out of pocket than what it would have if you would have came in before you had the insurance. Actually, more time and more money in the chair. Or it ends up costing people teeth because then they're like, well, just pull it. If you do not have dental insurance, do not let that stop you from coming to the dentist, because I promise you it will cost you more time, money, or maybe even your teeth.
I'm Dr. Jamie Cameron, Southwest Dentistry and Cosmetics in Weatherford, catty corner to Walgreens, swdentalok.com, where we treat you like family and do life-changing dentistry.
For garage doors, repairs, and more, call C&M Overhead Door at 580-515-1688.
Information, entertainment. Nathan and Landry Brewer call it infotainment. And it continues right now. The Early Morning Show on KECO.
7:39. It is finally Monday, 96.5. KECO's The Early Morning Show. Text us up at 225-9697. Carter Electric bringing you the forecast this hour. An authorized Generac generator dealer. Carter Electric, Curvin and Mary Orgain, 217 West 12th Street in Elk City. The phone number 225-2447. Right now, some fog around. Could be till 10 or 11 this morning. It'll burn off, leaving us cloudy. 65 the high this afternoon. Southeast winds 5 to 10. Tonight, 20% chance of showers late, otherwise cloudy, 49. Tomorrow, partly sunny early, becoming mostly sunny. But with a feel of fall, 58 your high, okay? So the low should be about 49 or 50, and it's not going to get much warmer than that tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon's high, upper 50s. Right now on the back porch, 55 degrees, skies right above us, dark, was foggy when I got up, so there's some fog around this morning. Please be very careful. In about 10 or 12 more minutes, Jared Aha will bring you his local newscast. In the meantime, Beckham County Sheriff Derek Manning is in the room, and I want to get right to it because you had a lot of stuff, as you always do. You had a lot of stuff happen this past week. I want to talk about it all, and time permitting, I have a special TV-related question for you. Beckham County Sheriff Derek Manning, tell me about the mental health call you got.
So we received a call at Eric. A gentleman was having a crisis. The call came in that he wasn't acting like himself and was threatening self-harm, had a baseball bat, eventually had a machete. My deputies responded to Eric, to that location, and when they arrived there, they made contact with the people that reported the incident. And the guy was also apparently pouring bleach all over the floor inside the house. So he was in a mental health crisis, and deputies were able to get him to put down the weapons, which he did as soon as he contacted the deputies, came out the door, and they took him into custody without any incident, and we got him the appropriate mental health assistance after taking him into custody. So could have gone another way. Deputies did a good job keeping that calm and controlled, and got the guy the help he needed.
And I keep bringing this up a lot because I keep seeing it a lot, another mental health call. I mean, it's a mental health issue.
It's I mean, if it's not weekly, it's close to, and then some weeks it's multiple calls of it, and we talk about that a lot. So, yeah, it's something that, and it's the difficult thing, the thing that is hard sometimes is knowing whether they're going to get actual, in custody mental health, or whether they're going to get just looked at and let go. In this case, we took him to the hospital, and he was taken to the appropriate care facility from there. We don't usually know right away what's going to happen with that, and at this point, I'm not real sure what his outcome was, but hopefully he got the help that he needed. And it's just it's difficult to get folks the help they do need sometimes in a significant ongoing way. That's a lot of times the problem.
You were telling me about some stolen property being recovered.
Yeah, so one of my detectives did just a fantastic job. This is from a theft and burglary that occurred quite some time ago in the Sarah area. He recovered the property in Elk City that was just the result of him being tenacious, is about the best way I can describe it. He stayed after this case and knew that there were some local individuals involved, and he just kept following leads, and finally we found it sitting actually in the front yard of a house over on one of the side streets here in Elk City, and we're working to follow that up and see if there's some other property we can recover along with it, find some details about that. So there probably be some other arrests forthcoming on that case, and just a good job from that detective staying after it. It's because it's important to people. When somebody takes your stuff, that's, it just makes you feel a certain way that's hard to describe. I've heard people use the word violated, and I guess that's about as close to anything. That's your stuff. Somebody came to your place and took it. And so we take that seriously, and this detective took it very seriously and followed through and got some results. So I'm proud of that.
96.5 KECO is the early morning show. Beckham County Sheriff Derek Manning is in the room. A week ago today, we were talking about the interim study and dealing with abandoned grow houses. Yep. And lo and behold, within the last week, there was an attempted burglary at an old grow house.
Yeah, so it's not, I guess, technically not abandoned, but it is an old grow house that's no longer in operation. It's south of Sarah, and there's somebody still living in one of the buildings there, and they called and reported somebody trying to break into the residence there on that property. So we responded. I was actually the first unit there. I was at the sheriff's office in Sarah, actually in the middle of another meeting, and they called and said, "Hey, you're closer than anybody else." So I ran out there and got there just a minute or two before one of my that same detective I was just talking about, he was the next unit on the scene, showed up behind me. There wasn't anybody there when I got there, but I talked to the person at the residence, and they said that the vehicle gave us a kind of a vague vehicle description and a description of 3 men in the vehicle. And they said they had just left before we got there. So we went back. Obviously, we went back and backtracked the way we came, see if we could locate a vehicle matching that description. We didn't, but we were able to locate on our in-car videos, myself and the detective, a vehicle that seems to match the description. And so we've got some leads to go on. We're still working on that, trying to locate and identify those people.
You've talked about how difficult the job is for the people in the detention center.
Yeah.
And there are many reasons for that.
Most difficult job in the county. I stand by that.
And one of the reasons is something we talked about off air, an additional charge being added to an inmate. Why?
Yeah, for throwing bodily fluids on one of our detention deputies. And so that's something we take very seriously. It happens from time to time. Inmates sometimes feel like the proper way to respond is to throw something, and I won't get into detail on which bodily fluids, but if you can name it, it's been thrown at a deputy, and so we take that very seriously. We file charges when that occurs, and so that inmate caught an additional charge. The deputy's okay, but we do not appreciate our deputies being treated that way, and we won't tolerate it. So that was kind of a no-brainer about how we were going to proceed with that one. And it just, like I said, catches additional charges for somebody that's already in trouble with the law.
Okay, why do inmates get upset? I mean, it may seem like an obvious question, but they've done something wrong, or they're charged with doing something wrong. They're in a detention facility, and then they're having to interact. They're still alive and interacting with other humans, including your people.
Right.
What is it that gets them so upset?
Typically, they don't get their way. I mean, that's I guess you can call it human nature, but they're in a very restricted environment. We're very we treat people with human dignity in the jail, and that's a standard that I require, and that's a standard that my people always try to meet. But that doesn't mean that the person that's in custody always thinks they're being treated fairly. They don't get what they want. A lot of times, it's you're told where to be, when to move, what to do, when you can eat, and that sort of thing. When you can make phone calls and all of those things. And at one point or another, they tend to get upset. Some of them are not the most well equipped for I guess people skills, interpersonal skills is the best way to put it, and so they act out in ways that sometimes cause themselves more harm than it does the person that they're trying to act out against.
Your office also had a child neglect case.
Yeah, so that was a particularly troubling case. We had a guy who was it was kind of a cross between mental health and a criminal case, but it's definitely a criminal case. Took him into custody after we learned that he had made threats against his wife. He'd also made some suicidal statements that were concerning, but he'd threatened to kill his wife, and then in the process of that tried to enlist the aid of his young child. And so we learned of that. We found hard evidence that actually occurred, and we took that person into custody for child neglect is the initial charge. I'm sure there will be other charges following, but actually tried to talk his child into some assistance in killing his wife. So we made sure that the wife and the children were safe, and then went and took him into custody. Deputies did a good job of doing that without incident, and he's awaiting further charges on that incident.
55 degrees, cloudy/foggy, on our way to 65. Jared Eighth in a few more minutes with local news. Beckham County Sheriff Derek Manning is in the room here on 96.5 KECO's The Early Morning Show. Tell me about this OHP and notification and a reckless driver.
So we got a call from, I think it was, it may have been an OHP supervisor or commander, I'm not sure, that told dispatch that his neighbor had called and said that there was a reckless driver on the interstate, gave the location, and so he stayed in touch with the person that was calling and contacted us. We had units close by, actually my undersheriff and I believe my captain were close by, left the office and went to that call, located the vehicle, chased it down, and they said he was driving very erratically, and then got the guy pulled over, got him out of the car, and we're doing some field sobriety tests, which I watched a little bit of that video, and the guy was, I would say, very, very much intoxicated. We think it wasn't alcohol, we think it was medication of some kind, and so he showed enough probable cause there for the DUI charge, and we took him into custody and got him off the roadway, and everybody was safe, no further incidents.
Are there things that people, whether it's medicine or whatever, are there things that people sometimes ingest and they don't realize it is then illegal to be driving a vehicle after doing that?
That happens, yes. I don't know. In this particular case, we'll have to wait some blood tests come back. Actually, I think this guy declined to take the state's blood test, so I don't know. We'll find out exactly what he had on board. But the evidence of intoxication was extremely high on the video that I watched. But yeah, there are times when people take prescription medication, and what people don't understand is prescription medication can still get you arrested for DUI if you take excuse me, if you take over the dose of what's prescribed, or even if you take the dose that's prescribed and it affects you strongly, you can still be held liable for that. Now, that's typically not what we find out there, but I have found people. I remember one lady that ran into a light pole downtown Elk City that I got there, and she had taken sleeping medication and had basically sleepwalked to her car, got in it, and driven and ran into a light pole downtown Elk City.
She didn't remember it?
She after she kind of came around, I got to the car and opened the door. She was literally in her pajamas behind the wheel and didn't realize how she had gotten there, and she had taken sleeping medication. So
oh my goodness!
Yeah, it can happen. I think typically though, what we find is people just abusing what would normally be prescription medication, or some version thereof, a legal or illegal version. A lot of times they're counterfeit pills or things that are made to appear to be prescription pills, and they've got a lot of other stuff in them that you just don't know, and people still buy those and take them anyway.
All right, Beckham County Sheriff Derek Manning, I've got a question that we did not rehearse.
I understand we're going to talk about Blue Bloods.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Okay. Blue Bloods was on for 13 years on CBS, starring Tom Selleck. Well, Donnie Wahlberg, who played Danny Reagan, is now on a different show called Boston Blue. Yeah, Boston. That's what it's called, Boston Blue.
Yeah.
So this New York guy has gone to Boston because his son, Sean Reagan, is now a Boston cop. He went to Boston, I guess, to get away from being a Reagan, but he wants to be like the Reagan. Anyway, so his dad, portrayed by actor Donnie Wahlberg, Danny Reagan, goes to Boston to visit his son.
Good old Danny.
While he's there, in his vicinity, a crime is taking place.
Okay.
And so Danny, who's a New York City cop in Boston, runs to the action, and he's flashing his own badge and says, "I'm a cop," blah blah blah, whatever. And it got me to wonder. And I know it's a TV. Look, I know it's a TV show. I realize this is not a news account. This is a TV show. But I've seen this on many TV shows. Does a law enforcement officer in the United States, let's say in the state of Oklahoma, does a law enforcement officer, whether he's a cop from Muskogee or a sheriff's deputy from McIntosh County or an OHP trooper who lives in Ponca City, if he just happens to be in Clinton or Weatherford or Elk City and something's going down, does he have the authority to act as a law enforcement officer?
Not exactly, no. You have a commission in if you have a commission in Oklahoma from another state and you've got your weapon with you, you're showing your badge basically not to get shot. That's what it amounts to. You can take the same action that a citizen can take if you're a cop somewhere else. You've got, obviously, if I show up and there's a guy that flashes a New York City Police Department badge and he seems to be taking appropriate law enforcement actions, I'm going to take a little more comfort in that, knowing who he is, than some random person. But you don't just automatically have police powers in that jurisdiction. It doesn't work that way. It's just sort of hey, I'm a friend. And so I don't know how Danny did it. I'm thinking, probably knowing Danny Reagan, he went about it about 5 steps over the rules that exist.
Yeah, well, his son had Yeah.
So, but no, it's more just a friendly signifier than it is showing that you've got authority.
You've had a long career in law enforcement, OHP, and now at the sheriff's office. Have you ever run into that where somebody from a different jurisdiction comes in and is on the scene there?
I've had, usually crashes is where I've had guys come up and they'll say, "Hey, I'm a cop. Can I help?" And I'm always happy to see that. But even then, I have a responsibility as the officer who does have jurisdiction there to make sure that everybody's safe. And so you have to be careful about what you ask somebody to do, because you say, "Yeah, get out there in the interstate and direct traffic," and they get run over. That's on me as the guy that's on the scene that has the jurisdiction and the authority. Usually what I have happen more often is I have medical people come up and say, I'm always tickled to death on a crash to see a nurse come up. I've had that happen several times where somebody will run up and say, "Hey, I'm a nurse. What can I do to help?" And literally that's like the best thing you can have happen, because you're usually still waiting on an ambulance to get there. You're the first one on the scene, and you got somebody that's badly injured. I've had nurses actually perform, what very likely could have been life-saving techniques on somebody while they were down, while I was still waiting on the ambulance to get there.
So you're happy to give jurisdiction to medical personnel.
You badge me, and that's okay. But if you tell me you're a nurse, I'm going to be really happy to see you.
Beckham County Sheriff Derek Manning, our Monday guest. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Derek.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Be safe.
5 away. Jared wants to give us news. Early morning show, 96.5 KECO.
Good morning, cloudy and 56. This is the Paragon Morning News. I'm Jared Atha. An 18-year-old Minnesota man, Atticus S. Schultz, was arrested on Tuesday, October 14th after a purse snatching at the Weatherford Walmart and a high-speed chase through West Clinton. Dispatch put out the theft call at around 11:15 that morning. A black Nissan Armada fled a Clinton stop at around 11:37, hitting around 75 miles per hour before officers ended the pursuit at Oliver Avenue and Gary Boulevard. Police say a purse, wallet, and Bank First card belonging to the victim were found in the SUV. Schultz, who's listed as a missing adult from Minnesota, was booked in Custer County. Proposed charges include eluding, unauthorized plate, and concealing stolen property. State lawmakers held an interim study recently on abandoned marijuana grow sites, and Beckham County Sheriff Derek Manning was part of it. He outlined local complaints and cleanup concerns to the House Alcohol, Tobacco, and Controlled Substances Committee, joining DEQ, OBN, OMMA, and the Water Resources Board. DEQ says it has logged 440 complaints tied to grow facilities. OBN reported that licensed grows have fallen to just under 2,000. That's down from about 8,000 in 2022. Sheriff Manning says the goal is a workable path to deal with deserted properties.
I don't know what the answer is going to be. I have my ideas, but I don't know what they'll end up doing as a result of this interim study. So, and they've got to follow the law and make sure that they stay on the right side of the constitutional rights of everybody and that sort of thing. But it's a problem that needs to be addressed. One that I think should have been foreseen before we started down this road, with maybe some sort of a fund put in place for this. But we're here now, and we've got to figure out a way to address it.
Lawmakers are weighing cleanup funding, clear jurisdiction, and possible resale or remediation requirements. There is no timetable for a bill just yet. These stories and more on our Facebook page and website. Cloudy right now in 56. This has been the Paragon Morning News. I'm Jared Atha.
A guy in Altus buys an RV from a fellow in El Reno. The transaction came about through the penny news. The power of the penny news is a force of nature.
The wait is over. Nathan and Landry Brewer continue the conversation right now on the Early Morning Show.
The 96.5 KECO's The Early Morning Show. There's some stuff I need to tell you about. It is that time again. Berlin Volunteer Fire Department annual fish fry. Let's see, I'm not good with dates. A couple of Saturdays away. Saturday, November the 8th, 6 p.m. Saturday, November 8th, 6 p.m. Berlin Volunteer Fire Department. Their annual fish fry meal is by donation, prepared by volunteer firefighters. Okay. Something else. Here we go. Helping Sutton Hunt. Okay, Sutton is the 3-year-old daughter of Hoot and Chania Walker Hunt, granddaughter of David and Gay Walker of Hammond, JW and Amber Hunt of Weatherford. Sutton was diagnosed with type B acute lymphoblastic leukemia on September the 26th. Hoot and Chania also have an 8-month-old son, Stratton, who's staying with them at the hospital, so their hands are full. Sutton began immediately chemotherapy, and her family has been at OU Children's in Oklahoma City. She's got a 2.5 to 3 year journey ahead of her. It's going to be physically trying, emotionally trying, and challenging. And friends of the family are asking for help. They're asking for prayers. They're also raising funds. Okay, if you want to find out more, you can go by the Security State Bank of Hammond. There's a account there set up. If you just want to donate. But Hammond All Sports is doing a reverse raffle and T-shirt fundraiser October 1 through November 12th. That's going on right now. You can contact Hammond All Sports if you know anybody involved with that, or just go by Security State Bank of Hammond if you want to make a donation there. Fox News Exploring Energy, Tradio at 10 today, and Ag at noon. Backroads at 3, country music all day, and local award-winning news and sports on 96.5 KECO in Elk City. Be careful in the fog. Enjoy the mild temperatures, and remember, KECO loves you.